Or because I'm lazy, I build a button that is gonna approve and push. I don't know, you decide, should I press it or not? Because if I press it, it's gonna be in my Substack. And then I will have to delete them because they're all wrong.
Then don't do anything. I trust you because I saw that you post 35 times last week. So the system
Yeah.
is obviously working. So, but I like that button because most of us are lazy.
Yes.
So impressive, like batch testing for batch scheduling 35 nodes from one click. It's pretty impressive. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another podcast edition from the Unstuck. My name is Sabahuddin, and today this is a second edition. Well, few weeks ago, I published my first podcast edition with Sami, and I put vote in my newsletter edition, see, would you like to see more of this? And happily, I get over 40 votes with yes. So here we go again. We have another edition. Mostly this podcast will focus around agentic workflows where we're going to show you the practical steps how you can implement any of these workflows you can see on the podcast right after the edition. Today, I have a special guest, Lucija Tomsic. Lucija, thank you very much for your time. Please, can you introduce yourself to my audience and we can go from there.
Thank you, Saba, for having me. Yes, as you said, I'm Lucia. I work at AI startup at the moment, but I always worked so far in non-technical positions, or basically at the intersection of tech and business. My background is in international business, so I was never a coder. I was never the technical person, but I think I have a fairly good understanding of figuring things out. And when AI came to the surface, it gave me a whole new opportunity to finally be able to try to figure out how to implement all of my ideas without constantly asking my developer friends to help me. And this is also the reason why I started a newsletter on Substack beginning of the year, which is called BRISK. And in this newsletter, I am explaining in a hopefully very simple way for non-technical people on how to get started with AI, how to use it, and also to take a little bit the fear away, because this is something that we can all manage to figure out, and we should to be future-proof, basically.
Yeah. I mean, look, the era of non-technical people is arriving and it's already here. And I'm also the same person like you. I never run any type of the code, etc. And now, like when AI is accessible for any type of the people who is non-technical, I'm super excited to see what people can build. And as you said, like there's a way how we can figure out. There's a simple hack, just ask Claude. But what I see as an advantage of us as a non-technical people using the Claude Code and any other LLMs is the way how we capture it and how we understand it. Because if you compare, for example, someone who is developer and is going to start using technical jargon, right? It's going to be confusing for the, let's say, global community. But us, like a non-technical people, once we build something, it's way more easier for us to even to describe that and share with our audience. And I think that's our really, really ultimate advantage because we make technical stuff really simple. Anyhow, Lucia, like after this edition, what will be the one thing that audience can leave and what you can provide after this edition? Can you give us a quick highlight?
Yes, of course. So basically today we will look at something that I built for Substack. I think a lot of people who are on this channel can relate when they just get started. There's a lot of questioning yourself. Am I doing this correctly? Why is nobody subscribing? Nobody wants to read it. Then you get a little push and then you feel fine again. Anyway, what I learned is that one thing that helps to grow on Substack is to write notes daily, and a lot of them. And I started doing that with a simple Notion database. I prepared the notes, I scheduled them in Substack, and then I realized this is a lot of repetitive work, and I'm quite lazy when it comes to things like that. So I thought about, okay, what about I try to build something where I can just upload all my notes at once, and then they're scheduled for the week, so I don't have to manually schedule that. And that is exactly what I built. And that is also what I will give everybody for free. if they recommend my newsletter in their own Substack or anywhere else. So people can just reach out to me and I will add them and I will explain how to use it. But I hope to make everybody's life a little bit easier with that.
Nice, nice. I mean, that's a great solution, especially for someone like you that has a full-time job. For example, I don't work 9 to 5, and again, I'm not consistent with Substack notes. And I think this is a really great solution how you can, save a lot of time, keep the quality of the output the same, and at the end of the day, to schedule all of them. So with that said, I'm super excited to show you to where you can show us what you built. If you are okay, you can share the screen and we can kick off from there.
Of course. Thank you. So basically, I built two things, but just stay with me. I will walk you through the evolution of what I built. So as I said, I was quite lazy to schedule all the notes manually. Everybody who knows Substack knows that you have to, well, type something, then click here, schedule, select a time, save it, and then it shows up in your drafts and it will post in the date and time you selected. Honestly, there's no benefit of doing that because the notes are already either prepared or you just type them. But for me, it was quite hard to stay consistent when doing that manually every day or for 2 days in advance. It just cost me a lot of unnecessary time. And so I started to research how this could be solved. And I saw that some people are selling Chrome extensions that you can use to upload a CSV document, and then it will be scheduled automatically. Now, if you follow me, you also know I'm not a fan of paying for stuff that is not necessary to be paid for, which is why I tried to figure out, well, if that person could build it, I can probably build it. So my whole idea was, to just build a scheduler. And before I show you how this works, just a brief history. I started also to try to build a Chrome extension. And actually I built one, but I don't know if it was me, if it was Claude. I didn't use the greatest models, to be fair. The Chrome extension didn't work as expected. It worked from a technical perspective as expected. The robot basically did what it's supposed to. So in a Chrome extension, the robot is just like going into your tab, opening this, copy pasting the notes, scheduling it. But what is happening if we look a little bit into the background of Substack is that those fields, as you can see, I clicked on something, the URL didn't change.
Yeah.
Substack is very great in, I don't know the technical terms for it, but I just call it like hiding their technical things that we can use to automate stuff.
That's the perfect term, by the way.
Okay, great. Oh, and also there is no official Substack API. There is some things that some people personally developed. I checked GitHub, so I couldn't find anything that I can really use. And I went back to Claude Code and started to iterate. And basically what me and Claude came up with is to build a scheduler that will use the cookie, the Substack cookie. A cookie is basically, I would describe it like a wristband. When you go to a festival, you get a wristband and you can enter. And it's valid just for the time of the festival. So what I did is I give my wristband of Substack to the scheduler, which is hosted on Versal. I can explain that later a little bit more if it's of interest. And with my cookie, my wristband, now this dashboard can access my Substack. And what do I have to do to be able to do that? Well, basically, I have to be logged into Substack and I have to use my own cookie. Because if I don't use my cookie, if I use, for example, your cookie, my notes will post on your profile. So that is the major difference. Yeah.
Two questions here. So this schedule works while you logged in on Substack, right? If it's not logged in, so it's not gonna work, right?
Exactly. But I mean, I opened a fresh window for this recording purposes. Usually I have 200 tabs open and I'm logged in everywhere all the
Category.
time. And basically you don't have to have the tab open. You can just be logged in Chrome. It doesn't really matter. And what will happen after approximately 30 days, this will stop working because the cookie will be expired. So the festival is over, your wristband is not valid anymore. So the only thing that you have to do is go back to your Substack and get a new cookie. And this is actually quite easy. You just go into inspect and then I don't even know by heart anymore where you have to look. You get the cookies. You click on Substack and you look for the SID one, Substack SID. You copy this.
Code and that's it.
You copy this, yeah, and you give it into the scheduler again, basically in the back end, and that's it. Then you're free to go for another 30 days. So that's the only thing that you have to do to make it work on your own profile.
Okay, before you show us like how this works in practice and give us some quick demo, like on long-term run, like how much is saving you time per week? Is this how many subscribers you get? And I see that you already have 350, which is pretty impressive for someone who is just starting out. And I wanted to congratulate on that.
So basically, I built this last week, right? So I don't have the statistics on how much subscribers it brought me yet. But when I started with notes, I realized that some of the notes, not every note, but some would go what I call viral for a new beginner, which means like 5 likes. But I had some notes that went really, again, not viral in the broadest terms, but they brought me quite some subscribers. And that's where I noticed, okay, if I'm not promoting my Substack newsletter anywhere else, because I sometimes have time constraints, then the only thing I can do is post notes on a consistent basis. Some of them will get shown to a broader audience, some will not. But this was the only consistent thing that brought me new subscribers over the time. So I thought about, okay, how I can make this easier, because I think that the most important thing with notes is to stay consistent and to teach the algorithm, okay, yes, I'm posting every day. And what happened to me is I had a Notion database full of prepared notes that I actually invested a lot of time in writing. And I didn't post them just because I forgot to schedule them. Or when I was scheduling it, it took so much more time than you would expect, because you know, you don't want to schedule them all at once. You want to schedule them at times when your audience is awake and alive, basically. And I was traveling a lot in the last few months. So I had to also configure the time zone and think about all those tiny details. So just the scheduling of the drafts would take me minimum 20 minutes every 2 days, or it depends. But as I said, it's unnecessary time that you can spend for something else.
Nice. I mean, look, I think this approximately can save you at least, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours per week, definitely. And as you said, like, I'm not a big fan of notes personally, but I see a lot of value here, and I see where Substack pushing this. So if you can give us quick demo of how this works, and then we can focus on like how you build, what is the tool stack, and etc.
Yeah. So basically in the scheduler, there is a CSV template that you can download and use to populate with your own notes. Let me open it for a second. It's honestly, it's just, I think, 2 columns or 3 columns, just the note, the date, the time. So here we go. Yeah, super simple. It's even just 2 columns. So this is the structure that we need the notes in to be able to be picked up by the scheduler. So I can just like drag it here
And import
you
it.
see already the notes, and I can import them. So this is basically just from the template. You can import the 10 notes, And when you do, I will not do so because obviously they're not real notes. But if you import them, they will show up here in the stuff that is scheduled, and they will show up in your Substack dashboard. You see that already I scheduled 79 notes
Your
since last.
machine.
And the reason why I'm not clicking on import right now is because I want to show you something cooler that I built on top of this. Because once this started to work, I was like, okay, why stop here? I got the scheduling sorted, but why not use the whole same concept to improve my notes? And so I went on and I built a whole dashboard. And this dashboard is basically 8 agents running together, or better said, 5 agents are running in parallel, and then 3 other agents are using the output to help me write the notes based on a lot of criteria that I defined.
So basically, this dashboard which you're showing me right now will start generating the new fresh notes, which you're gonna show it later how it works, and then it's gonna be populated on some CSV file, and then you upload that CSV file on the previous dashboard for the scheduling, and then from there you can just schedule it. Correct me?
Correct. Just a note, it's very correct what you said, but just again, because I'm lazy, I took the scheduler dashboard and just via an iframe, I put it into my growth. So it's exactly the same dashboard. And another thing I did is I created a button, you will see it later, that is just sending it to the scheduler. So I don't even have to download and upload the CSV anymore.
Oh man, this laziness will kill us.
Yeah.
But this is a great hack, to be honest with you. Okay.
Okay, so how I started, I mean, the writing the notes was never a problem for me. I spent a lot of time teaching Claude how I write, and I'm quite impressed by how good Claude became at writing as me. Still, every time you have to edit some pieces. So I would never like publish something that I did not edit. But again, for a lazy person to have a draft to start from is much easier than to start from zero. So I had this whole Notion database. I knew approximately what I want. And how I run my Substack is that every Thursday I publish a new article. So I thought about, okay, what if this growth engine can write me notes based on my newest article, but already on a Wednesday night, so that they're ready before my article comes out, so that they can also promote the article. But then, obviously, I also don't want only to talk about my article the whole week. So it would be great if the engine can also access some of my old stuff, some of, which I call evergreen stuff, then also some community things. And most interestingly, what are people in my niche posting that is performing well? So I want this growth engine also to be able to learn and to improve over time. This is the whole thing why I set it up this way. A part of from the laziness, I wanted something that will improve over time with the input that it gets.
Right, and you wanted to build this, and then you think about, okay, why not to make some balanced content strategy across the whole week, publish my newest article, promote again my top evergreen posts, right? And then see what's going on the Substack, what goes viral, and then take that as an inspiration, connect with my tone of voice and writing, and then write a new Substack note, which is in trending, but from your point of view, your observation and your tone of voice, right?
Correct, yes. Okay, so what do we have here? I will show you. I mean, this is not the way I build it. This is just the way the dashboard looks in the order of. I kept adding more and more ideas, and I still have more to come. But what you can see here on the top is my latest article. This is connected to my Google Drive. So basically, this is just a folder in my Google Drive with the files, MD files, with all my articles. It's showing. So automatically, the newest one based on the date is picked. But if for some reason I don't want this article that week, or I want to prepare something else, I can also pick another one. Will be used for the next run. So it really doesn't matter. So the growth engine or the agents will still look at all the articles, but the main one I can pick. And the main one, why do I say the main one? Because I made a split. So basically, I'm right now at 35 notes per week, which means 5 notes per day. And I said 40% of those 35 notes should be about my newest article, spread around the 7 days. And then I say, let's say 20% should be about the evergreens, 10% is community. And this ratio will adjust based on the output of one agent, which is my retro agent. I will talk about it a little bit later. So this can shift. I mean, if my audience doesn't like my evergreen input in my notes, probably I will do less of it next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look, 35 notes per week is pretty impressive way to test different type of the angles of the notes and see what actually could work and what actually you should stop posting, right? Because from my own personal experience, and I'm publishing almost 3 years the content across LinkedIn and now in Substack and newsletter, I realized like there's no perfect content strategy which will bring you the growth, new subscribers and new clients. The only strategy that works is basically you can test different type of the angles, different type of the formats, and see what actually performs best and then double down on that. So I see like beside that is saving you a lot of time here, right? It provides you actual great asset of data to see and go deep and see like what type of the notes works, what type of why is that hook. So basically you can find one notes that outperform all others, and then you can go and focus on that notes and understand from human perspective, right, why that notes works, and then improve it for the next one, which this is ultimate power of this tool which you built.
Yeah, and this exactly, if you would do that manually, it's a full-time job. And probably you would do it worse than the AI. Yeah, then the next piece is, and this is something that, because I was traveling so much and always in different time zones, I struggle to understand when is my audience active. So I tried to replicate wherever I was. I tried to post more or less in the European time zone, but also to catch some Americans, because I noticed that a lot of the US people are following me. But it was more guessing than being sure. So it's also an agent. What it does is, based on my last notes, it analyzes for each day at what times the most active times are, basically. And I can just recompute this, and probably it will not change a lot because I just did it a couple of days ago. But it will, based on my last notes, it will give me usually a different result or the same result, because this is just when my audience is active. So this is now, those times are being used when the notes are being created automatically.
So
Which
what
is great.
is
Yeah.
giving you is basically you're gonna see like what time your audience is most active. So later on, once you want to schedule exact time, you're gonna follow this, right?
Yeah, so you want to spread out your notes during the day, but typically when you talk to Claude, it's gonna propose only like starting at 7 a.m. until 10 p.m. But again, that's just my time zone. So the US is not even awake then. So I want to make sure that because the drafts are scheduled, so I don't have to be awake for them to post. I want to post when most of the people are gonna see it. But I also don't want to post everything at once. So I want to try to serve all the audiences and post every 2-3 hours, or whatever works best.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then we have the runs that I can trigger. I will talk about that in a second, because this is the biggest piece. And another thing that I thought of is, okay, who are the people that I like to read, I like to follow, who are in my niche, who do very similar things to me? and who are great at notes. So I built this, I call it competitors. They're not really competitors. It's just like audience, where you can basically just type the name, their Substack handles, say, are they tier 1, 2, or 3 for you, and add them. So you see I added quite some people from Substack, and when I click refresh notes, what it does, it pulls their latest notes. This number should change I see
Yeah.
57 instead of 49. So we have the latest notes from all the people that I'm following in my niche or outside of my niche, but where I think their notes are performing really well. And another agent is going to take that into consideration as well. This is going to be like 10% of my notes inspired by the community. And if this performs well, it might go up to 20% next week. It will all depend.
So basically you are tracking what works and then optimize it to your current topic, maybe to promote a newsletter with similar style, or maybe just to talk about the same topic like your competitors from different type of the perspective or angle, right?
Correct. For example, if you start posting notes consistently, I will definitely add you too.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3 is up to you. Like it's like your
Yeah.
human judgment who is like it's like your taste, like in tier
So,
number
for
1.
example, Mattia, really impressed with what he does, but he's much more technical. So for my audience, way too technical, but I do like his notes and I like how they perform and I want to have a little bit of this in it. And those two are not really AI related. They're just more of a community posting things, but their notes are also performing very well. So it's just for inspiration, but that's also why they're tier 3. For me, tier 1 are more people who do very similar content to me.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, so then the next thing is I can trigger a run. What a run will do is basically it will provide me notes for the next week based on my selection here. So I can select the article, gonna do my newest one, and as you can see here, before I trigger a run now, some of the runs I approved already, some are waiting my approval. These were test runs, and let's just say it was a journey to get here, to have it fully working. But maybe I can talk about why a lot of the runs failed, because at one point, so the first run actually was perfect. It ran immediately. And then I realized, okay, this is using the API of Anthropic. So every run costs me money, right? And it's not a lot of money, but it piles up. And if you test it all the time, I mean, this piles up. So I said, what about we use open source models or free models? And I don't pay for the runs. And so that is what I tried to do. I tried to, out of the 8 agents, I tried to switch 6 agents to a free model. And the switch worked, but what I did not consider, and this is also a big learning, is the free models are not so quick. So the time the pipeline was running was adding up so much that Versal timeout. And Versal has a 60 seconds limit on the free plan. Also, I'm not paying for Versal. So I really tried to make this very accessible and affordable for everybody, which is why I'm back on Anthropic. I'm using Haiku models for all the agents that don't need super duper input. And I'm using Sonnet for the writing agent.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's even Anthropic itself provides us the guide where you can put in one skill. I'm talking about different models to do specific things. So which is cost effective. You're gonna save some tokens, and again, you're gonna keep the same quality. In your case, Haiku do some certain job that can do, and then for writing you can do the sonnet. So I think this is really smart approach while this running. So from what I understand, to capture the whole workflow is pretty simple, right? You take the latest edition as a main context, right, of the main idea of let's say the repurposed model, what type of the content you're gonna post across nodes, right? Then you check posting schedule where where your audience is most active, which you can consider into the scheduling time, right? Then you also capture your competitors by 3 tiers and to see what type of the content they post. And then from there you start running this batch, which going to consider the whole context of the main edition, what others talk about to write the final outputs. Okay, guys, this is another one motivation for me to continue this podcast. Let's talk about if someone wants to implement this.
Mhm.
There's a one thing they need to recommend your newsletter. Okay, people, please recommend Lucia. She just starting out and she deserves more of you to follow her. From technical perspective, like let's talk about tool stack, right? So they need to have Claude Code, obviously. They need to have Vercel. They need to implement these cookies. Is there anything else I miss it?
So basically, there's two things for the scheduler. You just need the cookie, and I will give you the GitHub repo. You basically just need to install it on Vercel. Vercel is free on a hobby plan, and that's it. It should run. You just put your own cookie in, and it should be as simple as that. I also wrote a whole README instruction. Very simple.
So basically, I paste that repo into my Claude Code, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And previously, I connect the Vercel with MCP or CLI, right?
I don't even think you have to do that necessarily. So, as I said, I'm not technical. The way I started doing it some months ago is I just opened Claude Code and I asked Claude, hey, this is my Vercel account. This is my GitHub. I want this project be hosted on Vercel. And it can explain to you step by step what you need to do. It's usually you have to manually click 2 buttons and the rest Claude can do.
Interesting. Okay, then after that, what's the next step?
Yeah, after that, the scheduler should run. I can show you the last run I did just here 3 days ago.
Yeah. Let's
Yeah,
analyze it. So we are here to learn, and I like how you observe all this journey to build this tool, and every day is becoming better. So no worries.
that's exactly the reason why I am not giving this engine to anybody, because this is very highly personalized. And yeah, as you can see, it depends on your setup whether it will work or not. Also, there's a lot of different let's say secrets and APIs that are necessary for this to work. For example, you have to connect your Google Drive. You have to have your own, let's say, writing instructions, how your agent should write, the way you want your agent to put together the audience. That is something that is very individual to me. And yes, of course, I could commercialize it one day, but for right now, it doesn't make sense to just like give it to you. I much rather explain to you how to build this your own, or if somebody really, wants me to build it for them, we can discuss that as well.
Okay.
But the scheduler doesn't really need anything else than your cookies, so which is why I can just hand it out to people. So when a run is finished, you will see this is basically a very long summary of like what is the format mix. This is a different format that I'm using now because this was one of my first attempts. I changed a lot since then. What slots it has each day, what the article angles are, and so on. And what I get here is day 1 until day 7, all the notes prepared. But they're prepared in such a way that just by clicking on it, I can edit them. Because very often I don't like the notes or I don't like some parts of it, so I can add my personal touch to it. But for me, it's much easier than to start from scratch with like a blank piece of paper. So let's just say I don't like the question and so on. I just save it. You see it's gone. And I do that with every note. So this is for me much, much quicker, again, than to review it somewhere else or to write from scratch. And then because, for example, here you can see the slots are in the past. So it starts with 31st of May. I can change the date. So I can say, okay, I want, I don't know, 10th of July should be the first day. The next one is 11th, 12th.
Right, with that date.
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
So my dashboard is set up right now in such a way that it runs automatically with this pipeline run, because I post every Thursday my big article. Every Wednesday night, this runs automatically because my article draft is already in my folder. And then I just need to review it. And then it's ready to be posted and scheduled by Thursday when my article actually comes out. So I can make sure the notes are already promoting the newest article.
From what I see, like I'm currently reading few of the notes. I mean, they are almost 80% done. Like they are not like trash or garbage. Of course, I like this way where you can edit immediately, because personally, I never publish anything before I'm gonna schedule it, before I'm gonna review it. So, human in touch is definitely a good approach. Also, I love this type of the cadence dashboard. Not sure is that the right name, but is it similar on the Notion where you can have these previews. So as a final output, this is pretty impressive. Like, so basically you have 35 notes from which you can go and edit them. And as you said, it's way more easier to, start from the drafts, not from the blank paper.
Correct. And also compared to my runs right now, I know these don't sound bad, but the new ones are much better. So I did a few iterations of how this should look like. And also here you can see the time slots are always the same every day. And my newest run, they are adapted to the audience when they're active.
Yeah. I mean, look, here, the actual goal of you build the actual dashboard, you schedule everything, but to keep quality consistent, you need to observe as a human, right? Every time after 35 of the outputs, if you see that 40% of them are trash, then you should focus on those 40%, give instructions what doesn't work to improve the skill for the next output. People expect that can work from the first, but in reality, the testing, optimizing is everything.
Yeah, and it's a lot of back and forth with the, let's say, writing agent and all the agents before. So let's pretend I edited all that. I'm fine with the output. I save my edits. So now I can download the CSV file and upload in the scheduler. And for me, the craziest thing was when I opened Substack and I saw all those drafts, and I'm like, this works. I couldn't believe it. You see, it's all scheduled until basically next Wednesday night, until the next run.
I mean, look, this is really good thing to have. 35 notes, you can re-edit it in less than 5 minutes by reading them. All of them are short. You can add some tweaks, maybe change the hook, etc. And then once you're finished it, you just schedule them with one click, which previously you should like go from scratch, what you're gonna write, include the post URL, go on Substack node, paste there, click schedule. I mean, obviously you save at least 4 to 5 hours per week just for this task, which is impressive. What about agents?
Agents. Yes, let me show you, well, in VS Code, how they look like. It's 8 agents. One is called Analyze Article. So this is analyzing my newest article. One is analyzing the audience and the times that they're active. One is analyzing my competitors. One is analyzing my older articles. So the evergreens, basically. One is analyzing what happened in the past. Those 5 run in parallel. And then another agent is putting it all together. So he's collecting from those 5, like, give me the input, putting it together for the next 2 agents. The next 2 agents, one is writing the notes based on all this input. And the last one is hopefully soon the most important one, which is the learning agent. And to make this a little bit easier, I made a infographic, that can show this a little bit better. So we have the audience analyst. He's looking when they're active. We have the article analyst looking for my latest long form articles and what are the most compelling angles. Then the past performance is looking at my last notes and saying what performed, what did not perform. Competitor does the same, but with the notes of, let's say, my competitors. And it doesn't only look at the performance, it looks at patterns. So actually last week, this agent asked me in my dashboard, I was surprised myself, I didn't see this coming. It told me, hey, I detected 3 new patterns from your competitors, as in the way they write the notes. And would you like those patterns included in your notes too? And so I was able to read them and to approve or disapprove. So this will now happen every week, and it will get better over time, hopefully.
I mean,
And the evergreen one, looking at all the articles.
that's great compounding effect, because if he already start noticing some patterns and asking it to, include it in your notes, that's impressive, to be honest.
Yeah, and the best thing is, so they run in parallel, and they have to, because I only have those 60 seconds on Versal that we saw timed out. So this needs to run quick.
Parallel, they also have isolated context for each task, I assume, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Exactly. And then we have the, let's say, the briefing agent who is putting it all together, all the research notes, and he builds this, like, what they call cohesive game plan for the next week. So he will change the content ratio if he thinks that it should be different. So for example, right now I have 40% on the new articles, 30% evergreen, brand voice, competitor inspired 20%. And also I have an MD file that is having content just about me. Who am I as a person? What is my past experience? So that's also, the notes can be a little bit more personal. Then the writer takes this plan and writes the notes. And I get this output that we just saw in the dashboard. And here, this is the human in the loop. Basically, this is me editing the notes. And when I click save, this retro analyst agent, he learns from my edits.
Nice. That's actually, wow. That's
Yes.
actually
I,
really good.
I hope it will compound in the future. So the idea is that with him, this whole thing gets better and better and better.
This is the key element of the actual system, because
Correct.
think about it. All of those AI outputs, you're going to tweak them and he will start learning how you tweak them, and then you're going to spot some patterns. So next time, I think you're going to get to the stage where you're going to spend just reading the notes and maybe slightly improve, let's say, a few words, but
Yeah.
hopefully it's going to work. I'm impressed. This is for me personally, the biggest asset on entire system.
It's called Learn Analyst or Learn Agent. It doesn't sound impressive, but I hope this will be the biggest compound. And right now, I think he's going to have a difficult time, because most of my notes, because I'm just starting out, still get 0 likes, but some get some likes. And so this will, over time, this will improve much more. And also based on my edits, on how I edit the notes, I hope the writing will get much better, which I already noticed in the last runs, because I did quite some runs in the past. Sometimes I read a note and I was like, oh, wow, it's a good note.
So let's back a little bit on VS Code interface, and I just wanted to see like actual folder structure. So if they want to install this, they assume they're gonna get something similar to this that's gonna running in a backend. Correct me if
So
I'm
this
wrong.
is my growth engine folder.
What they can expect. To be honest with you, this type of the topic deserves few things. First one is one Substack Live, which will attract more people who are running on Substack. The second thing, even actually, if you think you can consider to think about to create some workshop about this topic, especially targeting the Substack people, because from what I see, from what I experience, and my first impression, you build really good stuff, really, really cool. And the actual value, it's going to start compounding, and on the long term, this is going to be the actual beast, especially with that coach.
I also hope so. Yeah. Actually, so in the scheduler, the most interesting thing I cannot show you because this is my N file, which hosts all my secrets. And this is the file where you added your Substack cookie.
Uh-huh.
So that's the only thing that you have to do once you get it. Um, I wrote a README that is quite should be quite easy to understand on how to do it, and it's all on GitHub. It's a separate repo. It's private, but as I said, if somebody wants to recommend my newsletter, I will add them to my repo, and they will get access to all of this, and can just install it. And I even offer to walk them through the installation.
Nice. Nice. That's really generous from your side. Uh,
Previously, you asked me about, before we started the podcast, you asked me about how the dashboard looks this way it looks.
yeah,
And yeah, maybe just a really simple answer to that. I like design. I actually just gave it a file with my brand design. What did help is that some weeks ago I built my own website, so I had it fully ready. How the HTML design should look like, what the logo is, and so on. And gotta be honest with you, this was like more or less a one shot. I did not have to improve a lot of it.
nice. I mean, it's appealing, super simple. There's no too many distractions. I mean, personally, I love this type of design, minimalistic, with few highlights.
Yes, and I'm a fan of, as if you look at my Substack, I'm a fan of cohesive design so that it's like you can recognize it anywhere. Um, to just keep it simple, keep it functional. Yeah.
Okay, I think we cover pretty much all, right?
Yes.
Uh, if someone wants to reach out to you, work with you, follow you, can you just give us quick guides where we can find you?
On LinkedIn, obviously, via my own website that I will show. It's just called brisk.vision. You can see what I'm offering. You can book a free call, or just email me. It's for me, it's always the best. Just text me. I'm a quick replier, so yeah.
Yeah. Okay, people. So I think we closing this edition. I'm gonna leave the all Lucia details. You can contact her for this scheduler tool. You can subscribe to our newsletter. Give us also green light to continue with this podcast edition. Bring a strong network like Lucia is to provide you a lot of value, because after every edition you can implement this, which is the ultimate goal. We don't talk about like regular podcasts. We screen share, we show the tools, we go and geek together, like, and as you can see, Lucia even do some learning while she's building this. I'm also learning a lot of stuff. So yeah, let's support each other. And Lucia, thank you so much again for this edition, and I hope you're gonna come again.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and you're a very good host.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.